Hello and welcome everyone to episode 2 of Terra Firma Rescue. Now, in between episodes, I finished off the roof of our house, and we can go inside and we can see that it's all filled in. Got a little hole there just to let some light in, and got all of our pots here in the corner holding our valuables. Got a tree there as well. So sometimes, since we cut down a bunch of trees in this area, you will get saplings that just appear or spawn back in, and that is because of TerraFirmaCraft's regeneration mechanics. You get the same thing with all the grass, so all of this grass will grow back, and that's just how TerraFirmaCraft addresses the problems of the trees not dropping saplings, for instance. But in today's episode, we are going to do some farming. We're going to set up some food production, because otherwise we're going to end up starving, and that's not a good thing. So I've got a hoe already from last time, but I will just show you quickly again how to make that. So you get the rocks, take all of these ones out, and then leave 2 there out of this 5x5 grid, and you get a stone hoe head. And then we can make another hoe just like that. Time to farm, apparently. Now, follows the same water mechanics as regular Minecraft. Go 4 blocks back from the water's edge, and we will create a little patch of growing space there. We've got some sugarcane seeds, so we can grow some sugar, and we've got some rice seeds, give us some rice, some good grain. Now, we want to grow lots of different types of crops rather than in regular Minecraft where you just live off of baked potatoes for all of eternity. You can't do that in TerraFirmaCraft, because on this one we have different, it's not quite nutrition, but it's essentially the same thing, that we have to eat a balanced diet of fruit, vegetables, grain, protein, and dairy. Now you'll be able to see on each of the food items what it is. So fruit is in purple, as you can see there, and all of the other ones have their own colours as well. So we want to be growing lots of different things, and we'll also be using the different crops for different purposes. For example, if we take any of the grains, you can turn the grains into alcohols, and we can use those alcohols to create potions, and probably in this mod pack there's all sorts of other things that you'll be able to do with them as well. So, but we'll get onto that later. So we will have to just wait and see. Got garlic, carrots. Can't remember how many different crops there are in TerraFirmaCraft, but I know it's a fair amount, and we've got nowhere near the number of crops there are. So carrots, and last one is green beans. So just counting back 4 from the water's edge each time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can till all the soil and grow a bunch of green beans. Now each plant also takes nutrients, so it'll take nutrients out of the soil. There are 3 main types of nutrients. We can't see them right now because we're not high enough level. We'll be able to see all of that at some point. You can see the peppers are already growing. So we've got yellow bell peppers, we've got squash, we have got cabbages, we have got sugarcane, rice, carrots, and green beans. I'm sure we'll be able to go out adventuring again pretty soon and find some more different types of crops. Now, this is one of the reasons why we chose this area to settle down, so we've got nice large areas of flat land right next to the water's edge that we can use for growing food. So we will need to grow a lot of food for ourselves. But not only have we got crops, we have also found some various different bushes on our adventures. So we can open these up, and we can see that we've got raspberry bushes, elderberry bushes, gooseberry bushes, blackberry bushes, strawberry bushes, and cranberry bushes. So take all of those out of there. We'll just place these down. Oh, some of them hurt, so the raspberry bushes hurt, I guess. So we will just place them down. You can place them on top of each other even. But you have to make sure that there's a bush underneath, because if I try and place it there, it just pops off. I wonder if we can do the same with the raspberry bush. We can do the same with the raspberry bush. We'll make this whole thing take up a little bit less space, but still over by our food so we know what it's doing. Does the blackberries also hurt? So we can do a stack of some blackberries. Gooseberries can't be placed on top of each other, so we'll go behind here and do a row of gooseberries. Now, a lot of these bushes will just create more of themselves, so you'll be able to come back and you'll see that just more bushes have appeared around. So if I just put a strawberry bush down like that, I might come back in a number of seasons time according to the TerraFirmaCraft calendar, and it might have just spawned another bush next to it like that. And these ones don't hurt us, so we can just place them down like that because we can walk over them. Cranberries are also fine, and we might get some more bushes as we go through. That's pretty much all we have for the food content, but what we can do is we can make sure that all of our food is well preserved so it lasts longer. Now, to do that, there's many different ways of doing that. For instance, our ceramic vessels that we created in the pit kiln in the first episode. So I've got my strawberries in here, and you'll also see that as well as it's saying what it is, it also says how much it is and how much decay it has, and you can see it's got 1.1% of decay. Now, if I take that and I put it in the crafting table with a knife, it will remove that decay. So we'll take that out of there. If we place it in the crafting table again without any decay on it, it will try and cut it in half. Now we don't really need to do that for the strawberries because we'll eat that, and that's all the strawberries gone for the moment. And see, we're already going through our food supply. So we've got some green beans, garlic, pepper, carrots, blackberries, and that's just some random stuff that we can put over there. So, and you'll see all of these have decay values as well. So we'll just quickly take all of that stuff out of there. But to take each one, put it in the crafting table, and take off the decay, it's going to take a fair amount of time. So there's a nice little hotkey. So if you hold over a vegetable or any other food item and press D, then it will cut off all of the decay, and you can just quickly put things back in the ceramic vessel. Now, there is only there's a limitation with ceramic vessels, and that is that they can only hold 80 ounces. So if you had a full stack of 160 ounces, you would need to cut the stack in half, like I showed you before. So you put it in there like that, you click on it, and it will split it into two little bits, and then you can just press S to recombine it if you want to. And we'll do that for all of our food, because the more decay a piece of food has on it, the faster it will decay. And we're also going to put them in this back corner over here because it is at light level 8, and at lower light levels, food decays slower. It also depends on the temperature, but we can't currently do anything to affect the temperature. Sometimes people go all the way up to the top of mountains and store their food up there, because if we go even from where I'm standing now and go up to the top of this hill, if you look in the top left corner, it says 26.26 degrees Celsius, and down here it goes 26.37. So that's just over a few little blocks. So you can see if you go to the top of the mountain, it might get all the way down to 0 degrees Celsius. And I believe at 0 degrees Celsius, the food actually stops decaying, and you'll be able to keep it for a definite amount of time. But even in the climate that we're in, since we're quite close to the equator, we are probably, even up at the top of that mountain, it's still probably too hot for our food to not decay. You can tell how close you are to the equator by looking at the z-axis. So the equator is at 0, and the North Pole, or their equivalent thereupon, is at either 30,000 or 45,000. Can't remember which one, but it's one of the two. A very large number. So we are comparatively very close to the equator. So that's all we can do for our food for the moment. We've preserved the food as much as possible. So we've got some more pottery pit kilns action going on here right now. So we're going to cook up some bowls. So we make some bowls using clay, and in this pattern right now. There we go, clay bowl. And we're also going to make a water jug. Now, just like that. That is how you make a clay water jug. So you put the water jug in there, or put 3 bowls in there, and that's all the wood and well, we have more thatch, but it's all the wood that we currently have to make this stuff. So this is also how to make the ceramic vessels. It was a bit unclear in the first episode. And we can put logs in over the top. It's 8 logs, 8 pieces of thatch. And the reason why I've done it in this pattern, why they are corner to corner, is that if I take the fire starter, hold down right click, it will light. When it lights one of them, it will light all 4 of them. And you can do this, I think, as big as you can, as big as you want to, as long as they're going corner to corner. But they can't be side to side, because then it doesn't count as a valid pit kill. It will just burn everything to the ground. If it will light at all, that is. So we'll wait for these to burn down, and then I will be back once they are finished. So these pit kilns have finished burning. We can now just shift right click to pick up all the different items in there. So that's all, a bunch more vessels, help us store our food and keep it from decaying. And also just store food, just store items in general. And we can also pick up a bunch of these bowls and our clay jug. Now our ceramic jug, we can right click with it and it creates that nice little sound. But its main purpose is we can use it to pick up water and carry water with us. This is important when we go out to here and there's no water, or more importantly, there's no fresh water for a long way. It allows us to keep hydrated. Though, what needs to be mentioned is that these water jugs, they're not a permanent thing like the ceramic vessels. These water jugs will, every time you drink from them, they have a chance to break. Now, if we get a log, I'm going to place a log down there, and we're going to put the rest of these back in here. We're going to do something with a little bit of food preparation. We get a knife in our hand and right-click on a viable surface. You can't do it on grass, it has to be something else. You create a food prep. Now, it automatically grabbed all the bowls that I had in my inventory, so that's I wanted it to do that. Now, what we can do is if you have bread, we could create a sandwich, or with our bowls, we can create salads. Now, if we grab some of our food, which is running quite low at this point, we need to go running around nature like we did at the beginning of the series and find some more food before we starve. We can take what food we do have, we take a little bit of each thing. Well, we've only got vegetables left, so it's not going to illustrate my point quite as well as it could have, but we can still use it to use up some of our food in a more effective way. It will still, I believe it still produces a cooking skill. So this is the skills menu, and we've got agricultural skill because when you forage crops from the ground that have naturally spawned inside the ground, you increase that skill. That skill, the higher the skill, that you get an increased chance of, instead of a mature crop dropping 1 seed and a set amount of food, you then get a chance of getting 2 seeds back. So you get more and more chance of duplicating your crops to allow you to expand your farm without having to go exploring. So for the moment, we will just create some salads. We're going to stick some food in here. So stick some garlic. We have a base of cabbage, some carrot, and some garlic. Now, these numbers here is the amount in ounces of food that it will take from each. So if we create that, it creates a 20-ounce salad, and it will say all the different things that we've got in there. Now, if we also hold as it shows there, if we want the taste, we can hold left control on it, and we can see the taste profile if it's to our liking or not. And this is based individually on the player and the world seed, so it's different. It's going to be different every single time. So this satisfies our sweetness preference, but not our sour preference, not our salty preference, not our bitter preference, but it does satisfy our savory preference. And that's going to allow us, the more of those that are satisfied, the more hunger the food will actually give you. This is the big advantage of using foods in the food prep station, because individually, as you'll see, none of these actually satisfy it, but together satisfies 2 of them, so we get more food out of our food. One disadvantage though with the salads is that when you finish the salad, the bowl that we used to make them, that has a chance to break, just like the clay jug. And the other thing is that you can't cut the decay off of these. So once you've made them, you're going to want to stick them back in a ceramic vessel and keep them from decaying, because once you can't cut the decay off them like you can with the rest of our vegetables. So now that we've sorted out our food and we've got our salads in here, just stopping them from decaying quite as fast because they're already decaying quite quickly, we're going to take a quick look at the quest book. Now we started off with this quest book that we can right click to get into, and we've got all these quests here. You can also use the grave key, which is below the escape button, just to access it without the quest book at all. So we can even chuck that over there and we can just access it that way. And we're going to look at the first few quests. So we looked at some of these in the first episode, cutting. So in the Stone Age, then cutting down a tree is some, just to clarify that we had some logs. The next one that it just did automatically was when we had picked up 32 straw. Gives us an apple. Starting a fire. We'll go over how to start a fire in the next episode at some point. And if we then find clay, we also get some of this. So, assuming, I don't know why that's not. Why is there something else there that it wants us to? How do we claim? We have to choose. So we can either choose between a loot bag or a credit point. I don't know what the credit point's worth, but so I'm going to choose a loot bag. Get a loot bag from that, and we get some experience from that. We're just going to keep. Might as well take the experience. So we need to do some pottery. Unfortunately, it didn't connect that we had the clay vessel and clay jug in our inventory before we register those up, so we'll have to make some more of those, and we'll be covering making a pick and a saw in the next episode, so look forward to that. Get onto torches as well in the next episode, and also finding clay. So if you can't find clay, it actually gives you a quest where you can submit 32 thatch blocks and 10 sticks, and it will give you some clay. So we craft up some thatch blocks, we can do that and submit that. We have got clay, but we'll do the quest anyway, so for completeness sake. And that's where we've currently gotten with the quests. So there's a bunch of reading quests that you can go and read through in your own time if you're playing along, mainly about different things about the pack and how the progression works within the quest book, but we don't really need to worry about that if you're not playing along, and if you are playing along, you can just read it for yourself. So we can also look at what else we can get. So so this is what the intergalactic universal credits are for. So you can get a sandwich for 5 credits. You can get a exclusive crabs recipe. I'm not sure. Another different type of sandwich for 10 credits, and some KFC Big Chicken for 5 credits as well. Guess that's if you're struggling to find certain food types that can help you keep your nutrients up. And then what's the next one? So we need to do a few more quests before we unlock anything in there. We've got agriculture, so that wants us to have 5 seeds by the looks of it, and tells us how we start off with 500 health points. As you can see in the red there, that's our health points. We've got 915. That's because our nutrient levels are starting to drop. At maximum, I think we can have up to 1500 health points, and then you also get extra health points for the amount of experience you have. So that's something that we can grab at some point. Don't really want to break all of our crops now because they've already started growing. And we can look at what else have we got here. We have got conquering TerraFirmaCraft. So killing a bunch of different things. So finding bears. We need to kill bears. We need to kill polar bears. Wither. We need to kill the wither. Creepers. All standard mobs. And a few others. And I think the last chapter that we can look at is calcium carbonate. And this is wanting us to submit some of the rock types that we can find on the ground. If we can't find a certain rock type that can be used to get flux we'll be using much later on to work metals, as it is needed on an anvil. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. I shall see you in the next episodes. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.